I think in the beginning, because there wasn't really like a paved route of how to do it.
Yeah.
We benchmarked a bunch of people within the industry, right? So, guys out in Cali are they're wholesaling at $8 a pound, right? And these guys, Hazel Dell, I mean, Jim Hammond, before he sold the business to, I think, his longest term employee.
Mm-hmm.
He, I think was running $6-7 a pound wholesale, but he was also coming from running Dole Pineapple's mushroom division in California before he started his operation in '97, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're thinking about California agricultural scale to here, it's like you were thinking big. It's like big or nothing.
Yep.
And at a certain amount of volume of production, sure you can offer that, but I'm not trying to diss anybody, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people that are working there that aren't getting paid great,
Mm-hmm.
and it's you're able to do it because of the economy of scale, right? Yep. So I was at first, Liz and I were like, well, we'll go $1 more a pound. And then we worked for, years we're in the best restaurants in Denver, all this stuff. And we're like, we are not making any money at all, right? This is a terrible model, right? We saw all these other examples. We're like, we're going to do that, but maybe just a little bit more. And, at the end of the year, we're like, we're sharing a teacher's salary. This is not going to work. And so instead of throwing in the towel, it's like, well, let's just get smarter, right? And
mm-hmm.
like, can we capture more direct-to-consumer sales? Can we do it all and also like be equitable in the way that we operate, in the sense that like, I've never tried to poach any of your business, or I've never tried to poach any of Hazel Dell's business. I've
mm-hmm.
never tried to step on anybody's toes and just say, we're going to carve out this little piece of the pie for us, mm-hmm. right? And then there's plenty of pie around, right? And can we do that in this, like, as I've gotten older, more of a non-competitive model, right? Yeah. Because if you're like focused on the next guy who's coming up, because there's going to be a bunch of people that we're both going to see, that start. If your mindset gets stuck on the, well, let me get that, mm-hmm. then it's a terrible way to feel, a terrible way to develop, right?
And I feel like it's a waste of energy too, because you're like focusing on the wrong things,
right? Yeah. It's like a famine mentality, right?
Yep.
And versus like a feasting mentality, right? And when there's a level of abundance, you take what you need, but you don't have to conquer the world, kind of thing.
Yep.
And I think for me, that's also come a lot with like age and just mellowing out a little bit, and also just seeing how as the market responds. Like, I don't know the people that started Fox Fungi, but they think they're doing the City Park Farmers Market. They're doing the Parker Farmers Market, which we used to do. Mm-hmm. And then there's like, I don't know, the guys at Denver Mushroom Company. I think they're doing the Union Station slot that we used to have. And I'm like, cool, right? In the end, I'm like, this is probably good for all of us, to be perfectly honest, right?
I agree. It's like, so my vision, I guess, is like this just fully like vertical integration. So I'm breeding my own strains, I'm doing my own spawn, and then I'm creating my own fruiting blocks within house, so that keeps like my margins good. And then as far as, like you said, the market in Denver, like there's so many people who have become more like friends and family that we serve, that I don't ever feel like I have to go out to other farmers markets and, try to like use my energy to stretch farther and farther. Like, it's not like a wise thing from my perspective, and it's easy to fall into that trap. But I think, at one point I had the vision to like go big and grow as many mushrooms as possible, and then I think my wife kind of talked me down, and like now we have this really like, it's like a healthy like work-life balance, I guess.
Well, I mean, the thing about capitalism is we're kind of bred to be like, I want it all, right? And like, for what, right? At the end, it's like, can you think smarter? And for me, with our business, like having the diversification between we have the fresh product, that we produce. We work with pickers and pick ourselves when we have a good season. And then now we're shifting more to the back end production, right? So, this last year we did like a design build for a couple shipping containers for a farm up in Vail. Cool. And we're working more like in that model, and then like setting people up so that like we can build you out a shipping container and fill that with blocks, right? And it could be like a supplementary part of your farm income, right? Let's just say you diversify, you're in microgreens, you're in this, that, and the other. And then here's this other thing that you can just like kind of tack on to the deal where you already have people working at the farm, you already have, an interest in agriculture. Mushrooms are definitely like de moda, it's culturally relevant at this point in time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, yeah, you get a couple hundred, oyster blocks in there that are going to pump out 2+ pounds a block. And then you have that much more as a offering for your CSA or for your farmer's market stand. And so kind of working more in that like building alliances and also building, like using the infrastructure that we've invested in to be able to help support other operations, kind of gain a little traction, right? Yep. And then if that person's like, oh man, I really like the back end of it, then allowing them to develop that or helping them with some of the kind of the greater ideas that come into that. But as I've kind of seen from what I view as to some degree, certainly your market demographic is like the hobbyist world is growing in leaps and bounds, right? I mean, you look at the mushroom growing Facebook page, it's like 130,000 members or something like that,
Yeah.
That means that there's 130,000 people that have gone, I want to grow a mushroom, and you got to imagine it's way more than that, right? It's just, that's one little channel of it. And so I think it's fascinating to be a part of a rising tide and then just kind of figuring out, okay, well, what part of it do I actually like the best, or what part of it am I best at? And I've always been more of like a tinker build, like I like wrenching on pipes, I like welding, I like all the things that go into like the greater manufacturing of it.
Yep.
Right? And then, I mean, what I get from you, and obviously we haven't talked that much, but it's like you have a lot more of that background, microbial science, and like that part of it really fits well with your personality and your interests and desires. And it's like it takes a village to make the whole thing work, right?
So everyone kind of gravitates towards their niche.
Yeah.
And then
not unlike mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
In the environment, right? You find your little sweet spot. Like, this is giving me energy. This is a great food source.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we're pumped, and it's cool that I think at this point in the game, what is possible in the next 5 or 10 years, it's just like neither you nor I could predict it. I mean, we're part of the American Mushroom Institute and the Mushroom Council, and they're like, they predicted, growth in mushroom sales by X and X and X, and then all of a sudden it was just like, pretty much when we started as a commercial operation, just full J curve, right?
Wow.
They're just like, whoa, we didn't see this coming. And now, they look at us, you, me, the smaller producers as this like craft mushroom industry.
Yeah.
Like there's like a true name for us, right? And we're emerging as that craft mushroom industry. And it's cool to be a part of something that wasn't done before. You're not totally replicating a model that's been around for thousands of years per se. It's like, no, I mean, it went from pasteurizing in straw is the only way for a small farm to do it, right? To then we had a fleet of all Americans, and then it was like, well, we could put sauna steamers into 55-gallon drums. And so long as we're not trying to seal them up, we won't blow ourselves up and die. Yeah. And then it's like, then the PIDs, then this, that, like, so it's cool just in a short period of time just to watch the efficiencies grow. And then, the kids that get into mushrooms in 10 years will be like, oh, autoclaves, we did it. And, some sort of space age shit, you know what I mean? Like, at least that's how I see it.